everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Chris Hutchinson, and I thought for this video we can do something a little different. Usually in the past when I film my YouTube videos, I'm usually cooking a recipe that I am interested in doing or wanting to make. There's no like certain selection of choosing recipes to post on here. But I was thinking, we all have cookbooks in our house that we never use. And I thought, what a great idea to use it as kind of like homework or for my YouTube channel. So I decided to do is pick out one of my cookbooks, and we're going to cook every recipe in that book, and then we'll continue with another cookbook and another one. And this is kind of like broadening my cooking and finding out more recipes that I will love and enjoy, and plus it also kind of forces me to do something new as well. So I decided to start with one of my favorite TV shows growing up, Desperate Housewives. They came out with a cookbook. Now if you're not familiar with the show, it's about 4 to 5 desperate housewives that live on the same street. They're all best friends, a lot of drama, a lot of gossip, just full entertainment goes down on their street. But also, each one of them has their own style of cooking or whatever culture they are, and we're gonna do 125 recipes in this cookbook, and we're gonna cook every recipe. We have Brie Vandekamp, Gabrielle Solis, Lynette Scavo, Susan Meyer, and Edie Britt, and these are all their recipes in here, and we're going to be doing every single one of these recipes in here and cooking them and sharing them with you. So we're going to be starting off with Brie Vandekamp. She's the first housewife in this cookbook that they start with. And the first recipe we're going to be doing is basil puree soup. I'm excited to try this. This is nothing that I would ever thought that I would be making. So here's a very, very extra basil puree soup with Chris Hutchinson. Here we go. You'll need for this recipe 2 to 3 leeks, 1 whole yellow onion, 3 to 4 cups chicken broth, 1 cup whole cream, 4 cups of basil, 2 lemons. First things first, I'm going to preheat my pot on medium heat with butter in my pan. Once that butter starts to melt, we're going to add our onions and leeks to it, and we're going to brown them nicely. You want to constantly stir while it browns. And then we're going to add our chicken stock, and it's going to cook in it for 5 minutes. It's going to be so delicious. I can smell the leeks and the onion. So yummy. And growing up, this was one of my favorite shows of all time. And Brie Vandekamp, which this is her recipe, I related to her because she was like the old-fashioned housewife who always had homemade dinners on the table every night. And it's just like she was part of that old tradition, family value world, which I do kind of miss that nowadays. Need to cool down while you're cooking? Have a Pepsi. No, this isn't sponsored by Pepsi. But Pepsi sponsor me though. So we don't want it to be quite brown. So we're going to add our chicken stock, which is 1 box. The recipe requires for 3 cups. I'm just adding an extra cup just to have a little extra. Pour that in, turn your heat up, and then we're going to let it simmer. Increase heat, bring it to a boil. Let this cook after it brings to a boil for 5 minutes. Before bringing it to a boil, I'm going to season my soup. So I'm going to add salt and pepper to it. This is optional, it's not in the recipe. I'm going to add some garlic because I feel like this recipe could use some garlic. So I'm going to add some garlic powder to this just to give it a little extra flavor. We're going to give that a good stir. And then we can always add more salt and pepper towards the end after tasting it. But that way, the flavor's in there, and it gets all nice and marinated. It's gonna be yummy. So now this is coming to a boil. I'm gonna cover this, and let this cook for 5 minutes. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes, and now I'm gonna strain my soup, and then we're gonna put the scraps into a blender, and we're gonna puree it. Ooh, that's hot. Keep your pot to the side because we're going to be reheating it after we blend it all together. So we're just going to put our scraps into the blender. That is hot. Now we're going to blend. Might have to give it a mix. You almost want it to be liquefied. Now we're going to add our broth to make it a puree. And you just want to add a little at a time. We're going to add our basil to the blender. Make sure you're taking the stems off of your basil. And we want about 4 cups of basil. And save some for garnish too. Now we're going to add our basil puree back to the soup bowl, and then we're going to add our cream to it. One cup of cream. We're just going to mix that right in. And this is where you could taste test it to see if you need to add more salt or more pepper. It's really yummy. But I'm going to add a little more pepper and a little more salt to it. With soups, you want them to be really seasoned. Now I'm going to add some lemon juice to it. Now I'm going to add some lemon juice to this. Give this a nice mix. Oh my gosh, this is just so yummy. Wow. Unbelievable.
Why can't we ever have normal soup? Danielle, there's nothing abnormal about basil puree.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I was kind of nervous making this recipe at first because I was like, basil puree? That doesn't really sound fun and interesting. But after tasting this, it's so rich, it's so elegant, and it tastes so healthy too. This would definitely be something that I'll be making more often. And this is such a great recipe. Oh my god. If you like this video, make sure you're clicking that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to my YouTube channel. It's free. I am Chris Hutchinson. Till next time, love you guys. Mwah. Oh, so good.